Yeah, yeah. Let's get it going now. Oh, let's get it
Oh yeah,
going now.
coffee got me jolted. All right, all
Yeah.
right, all right. Answers my guess. Yeah. 7:15 a.m. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thursday went pretty much how we thought, right? We said really Randall Cobb, maybe Amari Rogers would show up a little. We said we'd be the running backs with the running backs. Hey, and sometimes I got to go with my heart more than my head because Green Bay pulled it off. They almost blew it. Luckily, AJ Green needs to. Everybody say it with me now. Sit down, old
Oh
man.
man.
All right.
Yeah, crazy man. I can't believe like he wasn't even looking for the ball. Like I would think if you have one-on-one coverage, that's talked about in the huddle, saying since there's one-on-one coverage on the outside there, if that happens, I'm going your way. If that was Hopkins, that would have been a touchdown. That would have been game over for Green Bay.
Yeah, Kyler sucked because mostly Hopkins. They really moved the ball better when he was in there. I mean, it was only a handful of plays, but should have scored that touchdown, face mask, whatever. Let's go. Let's get rolling.
All right, guys. Bye weeks: Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. If they're in your lineup, get the heck out. First game: Carolina Panthers at Atlanta Falcons. They benched Darnold last week. Seems like he's the starter though. They're saying they're going with
Yeah.
him. Maybe it was just a bad game. Um, how do we feel about this team? A lot of DJ Moore questions. Hey, I want to trade for DJ Moore. Hey, I think I'm trading DJ Moore. Talk about that situation. Anybody else we can start on this team? On the flip side, Falcons actually beat the Dolphins last week. They actually looked okay. They had some game-winning drive. You had mentioned this offense is starting to click. Ryan was throwing the ball all over the place. Can I play a Ryan to fill in a Lamar Jackson or a Derek Carr if I'm starting him? Or if I was starting them on the bye week?
Ryan's not a terrible play because they're at home, but Carolina's getting Stephon Gilmore today. We'll see how he fits in with them. I know their defense has been slacking a little bit the past few weeks, but they do have a pretty good secondary regardless. They did get CJ Henderson a few weeks ago for Dan Arnold. Um, you know, Atlanta, you're playing Pitts, you play Ridley. I see a lot of people trading Ridley. I think it's kind of a mistake. Um, like you just mentioned, I had mentioned that I think the offense is getting together. Davis is a sit, and I'd sit Chuba um, from the Carolina side. I think that Atlanta has a really good rush defense. He didn't do too much last week. If Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold again, it's going to take him out of the game. Royce Freeman got a bunch of snaps last week. Um, Chuba would be a sit if I had better options. A couple people I saw at different places had a few different running backs, and Chuba was one of them, and they needed to sit one, and it was like immediate sit Chuba. And then there's the Robbie Anderson debacle. Listen, Atlanta's secondary is still terrible. At this point, there's no need to start him, but DJ Moore, you put him in your lineup. Let's just hope they pass with a little bit of a better efficiency against the Falcons. But Matt Ryan at home, yeah, he's a fine fill-in at quarterback. Daniel Jones is out there on the waiver wire, and I'd rather grab him, especially if you're even a Dak owner as well. That way you get the Monday night. He's getting a couple weapons left, and we'll get to that game. But Matt Ryan would be like about third on the kind of consensus quarterbacks that are sitting out there for me. But not terrible. Their offense is getting this together, but Carolina defense, I feel like, they're opportunistic. They got a lot of playmakers. They've had a couple down weeks. Division game, so it'll be tough. Um, yeah.
I can see Panthers trying to take out DJ. I'm sorry, Kyle Pitts as well as Ridley. So this could be one of their Zacchaeus or Gage kind of thing. I don't think you're playing them, but pay attention if a DFS type of stand. I mean, that may be something to look to, especially a Zacchaeus that caught a touchdown last week. I could see him kind of doing something like that again this week.
Yeah,
Miami. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like DFS, like it's terrible, and you're probably throwing money away. But I mean, bottom of the barrel choice would be Robbie Anderson because the secondary is not good for Atlanta, and he's probably like $1,600 or something. He's probably dirt cheap, and all he's got to do is catch one long bomb, and you triple your investment with that. So
As I mentioned on Tuesday's show, Darnold tends to, whenever he has a bad game, tends to try to step it up the next game and say, "Hey, I'm still a quarterback that can start in this league." It wouldn't surprise me if you're right if they try to go for that deep ball and try to make it happen. All right, next one here. Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. You were high on Tua, man. You said, hey, play Tua over a bunch of quarterbacks that were out last week. He showed up. He played well. I don't know why they don't like him, though. I mean, I know Flores said, hey, this is our starter, but there's still tons of rumors that they're going after Watson. It seems like Dolphins are really the only ones in it, besides Carolina, who we didn't kind of mention. But anyways, who are we talking about as far as from a Gaskin keeps on kind of showing up? Waddle is his favorite target. Gesicki seems to actually still get some love from him as well. Are we comfortable starting those guys? On the flip side, Buffalo coming off the bye. Is it going to be just like all systems go for Buffalo? I'm starting every single Buffalo player that I have.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks in a row. As soon as Russell Wilson went down, I was like, Tua's who you want. He's got 2 good matchups in a row, and here's the third game he's got. Not a great matchup. If this was in Miami, I feel a little bit better about it, but it's in Buffalo, and Buffalo's a different team than Buffalo. But I got a feeling, with all the Watson talk and just with the Tua talk in general about people, kind of throwing in the towel on him, I got a feeling he's going to come into this one with something to prove. And he's made a couple bad mistakes. He shores those up. He's been playing pretty lights out. So would not be surprised if Tua goes into this game with a mindset that I've got to prove my worth, regardless what Flores says that I'm the quarterback for the rest of the year. I want to be the quarterback for the rest of my career. And what a better time and place to do it than this week at Buffalo, division rival. Miami can score, and their defense is opportunistic. The Bills are the Bills. You can force Josh Allen into mistakes. He's not Superman. He makes some amazing plays, but he still has some inaccuracies and some dumb things that he does on the football field. I see Buffalo winning it. We talked about Diggs before their bye starting to come through. I think that he could do so. I think they keep trying to get him involved. With Dawson knocks out, I talked about it on Tuesday. I think Cole Beasley is worth a shot this week. I think Dawson Knox has taken away from Cole Beasley. And I think without Knox, it's not going to be Tommy Sweeney. I think that they'll look to get Beasley once again more involved. The other guys, I'm not going to really worry about them. I know some people have made Emmanuel Sanders a staple. If that's what you've been doing, you've been winning, and he's been scoring for you, by all means, go ahead. But he's not somebody that I would even roster, so I can't recommend him as a play because I made a vow that I would not do that. Devontae Parker, they're saying, is going to play. That's going to help their offense. Preston Williams did what he did, right? Came in, had a great game, and now he's hurt, and he hasn't played since. That's what he does. Yeah, he's one of those, and it stinks because he's kind of amazing. Waddle is a fine play. I know that a lot of people rely on projections and predictions and things like that from the more renowned places, professionals. But I love Waddle in this game. The Bills have a fierce defense. The Bills are at home. But you know what? The Bills should be able to score points, and the Dolphins are going to have to run the ball or throw the ball, and they're not going to be able to run the ball that well. And Miles Sanders has been a little bit of Miles Gaskin has been a little bit of a disappointment, and I didn't like him in the beginning of the season. I always talked about somebody that I liked a little bit more, and this guy is starting to get a little bit more burn. And he happens to be our Week 8 guesstimator.
Who may you be talking about there, sir?
Who may you be?
Yeah, I know. It's 7-something in the morning, bro.
Salvan Ahmed, my boy from last
Good
season.
Boy.
Gave you his name early on. And then he showed up and he absolutely murdered it. And it was right around this time of year. It was actually right around Thanksgiving, so we're a little bit sooner, but he's been getting more and more burn. He looks much more spry. You said, well, Gaskin's been catching the ball and running touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Salvan Ahmed, I feel like they're going to use him a lot in this game. Malcolm Brown out. So that takes one head out of the equation. So now instead of a 33, 33, 33, 0.33333, we're looking at 50-50. 50-50. And
I like it.
I think they're going to use Ahmed. And I think he, as a DFS, is a sleeper. And I think in fantasy lineups, if you're somebody who's a little bit squeamish with the Eckler situation, if you're still not on board with Gibson, Ahmed is somebody who will be needed in this game to catch passes out of the backfield, will be needed to use his power and his agility and his spryness to get through this Buffalo defense. So to take a little bit off of Tua's plate, they'll continue with Gaskin. He's the starter, but I feel like Ahmed busts through this game, and I see him getting over 50 yards total combined and a touchdown with about 5 catches, which in a PPR is going to put you over 15 points, which is fine for a flex or an RB2, depending on the league that you're in. And that's a minimum for me with him this week. I really like him in this game. I'm fine with the names. Gesicki in this game. I think another division game, it's going to be some scoring back and forth like the first one. So you play your dudes if you got your dudes. But as far as Tua is concerned, I made the pivot from Tua to Daniel Jones this week. I like the Monday Night Magic, and he's getting a couple weapons back. We'll talk about that game when we get to it.
Oh, yeah. All right. San Francisco 49ers at Chicago Bears. Both teams lost last week, but Bears obviously lost a lot worse than San Francisco did. Let's talk about Justin Fields and how it affects everybody. Herbert, is he going to be your only start here? Anybody else we should be paying attention to? On the flip side, 49ers, their offense looked good on 2 drives. When they were actually using Eli Mitchell, they looked fantastic. When they were not using Eli Mitchell, they did not look good at all. Obviously, Debo's a start. Anybody else that we can kind of rely on in this game? Or is this kind of just sit everybody down in this game?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
You were spry this morning,
Hallelujah. 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 Guess who's at home today?
The Bears?
Matt Nagy.
Oh, that's right. Good call. I forgot
Matt
the
Nagy's
coaching
at
staff.
home.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy's at home. It would not shock me if the Bears offense just exploded in this one. I know you cannot start Allen Robinson or Darnell Mooney with confidence. Komet, I recommended him last week. He did all right. He has to catch a couple more balls and not drop them. Herbert, but it would not surprise me if this offense just took off this week with Nagy at home. I mean, this could be one of the clips that Rob makes last week that we put on TikTok. And it's just, no Matt Nagy. You got no excuses now. You got no excuses now. He's not there. And if they come out, pardon my French, balls to the wall, and the offense just tears it up, I think that they found the answer of what they need to do. Bye-bye. Gotcha. Right? You can't start him, but let's just see. Because, if he's the problem, this is a blessing in disguise. Because the team wonders, man, we got to fire this guy. Well, he's not there today, so let's see what happens. And if they do it, which I feel like they probably will do it at home against the Niners, defense is okay, but they're not great. I think that Matt Nagy could be gone. Get him back off that COVID list, because you probably can't cut him when he's on it, and then you fire him. You say, our offense did great without you. It'll be interesting to see. And as far as the Niners are concerned, it's Debo and Mitchell. I mean, who else can you really start? If this was, even if this was by Mageddon week 7, I would have not really recommended Ayuk. You can't. Jimmy G is only thrown to Debo, and you said it yourself. The offense is better when they use Elijah Mitchell. So It's those two, and you can't really trust the Bears. I feel like this is a game. Just watch it, enjoy, because I feel like without Matt Nagy, the Bears' offense probably will blow up, and we'll all know that what I've been saying for a month plus is the problem. It's Matt Nagy. So let's watch this one and let's see, and we'll see if this becomes a TikTok video next week.
Sure hope so. I forgot all about Magnagi. I think that you're spot on, which actually makes me raise a question. Would Mooney, is he worth a start over, say, for example, a Tony or a CD Lamb kind of situation on a Sunday night?
No, I still wouldn't chance it. I still wouldn't chance because I don't think that Justin Fields is ready. And I love Tony. We keep talking about this Monday night game. He's bouncing back. Casey's a sieve, and Patrick Mahomes needs to get it going. It's Monday night magic. You can't do that. And CD is Sunday night magic. So I don't even care if it's a backup. CD over the middle, along with Schultz, will probably be more of a security blanket with the two backs as well. I want to mention just real quick because I just saw, I believe it was a YouTuber.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put that question up just because you know what? He's watching at this time. Might as well let him get the question in. Thank you, Dante, for watching. Who should I start at flex? Sterling Shepard, OBJ, or Javonte Williams?
I'm not starting Odell. I can't start Odell. I do like Javonte. I feel like they should run against Washington. I mean, Javonte we talked about this on the Tuesday show. Not sure if you were with us, Dante, but welcome and thank you for being with us now. He's number one in the league with yards after contact, and he plays at best 50% of the time. But he has the most yards after contact. He's averaging 6.1 yards a carry, which is ridiculous. Whenever he is in the game, he's moving the chains. Problem is they're not using him enough. They're using him 50% of the time. We need Gordon to sit down, old man. He's not even that old, but we need him to. But that's not happening. And Rob and I, we co-manage in the Answers by Guest League, and we've been playing Javonte. We've been doing all right, and he got his TD last week. They should have used him more. We actually used him last week over Antonio Gibson. But we made the switch this week, and we played Antonio Gibson over Javonte because we feel like Gibson's going to finally get in the end zone, and we don't want to suffer through that 50-50 split, not using him when we shouldn't. I think I would play Sterling Shepard if I were you. You have the Monday Night Magic there. It gives you one last chance on Monday in case you're down. I do think him and Tony play. He's a target machine. Daniel Jones is my favorite QB streamer of the week. KC defense is a sieve. And their offense is going to be doing everything that they need to do to be able to fix their problem and move the ball and score points this week. So Shepard is going to be needed and involved. I play Shepard. It's your safest play. He's going to be on the field much closer to 100% of the time than Javonte. So that's who I'd go with in the flex, especially if it's a half point or a full point PPR. You got to go Shepard.
One thing I would say is just have a security plan in the background there. Slayton tends to be on a lot of waivers. So if, say, for example, Shepard, you get a last-minute call or he gets hurt during warm-ups or something like that, at least you can kind of pivot from there and having somebody else or somebody like a Demarcus Robinson or somebody on the other team just so to make sure that, things don't go by the wayside there. Looks like we got another question coming in. It just says flex position for a thing, but let's go into the next game and then we'll answer that one afterwards. All right, let's go with Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. A division game that could, I think, go one of two ways. It's going to be an offensive explosion in where this is like a 45-35 kind of game, or it's going to be 7-3. At least that's the way I feel this game's going to go. Pittsburgh, coming off the bye, Deontay's the favorite target. Najee, are we comfortable starting a Claypool nowadays? I mean, it seems like he's trending up. On the flip side, you're getting Baker back. You're not high on OBJ. They're getting Chubb back. How does that change the aspect of this offense? Can we start a Peoples Jones? Can we start any guys like that that are more ancillary and kind of just figure out, is this offense actually going to move the ball?
Well, yeah, Baker back. We'll see. Tough as nails, right? Tough as dirt, tough as nails. What do they say? Who knows? tough as sandpaper. But Chubb back. Now, here's a mistake I feel like a lot of people are going to make this week. Last week, we saw Dearness go to town. Great movie. But I feel like there's no encore. And you would say, well, guess, Cleveland, they run two running backs. Well, they run two running backs when it's Hunt and Chubb. When Chubb was out, who'd they run? Hunt. That's it. When they both were out, who'd they run? Dearness. It's only two running backs when it's those two. And I feel like that's something that we don't notice unless we really pay attention to it. I think Chubb coming back, I think it's going to be all Chubb. Chubb can catch passes. Chubb against Pittsburgh last year, I think it was a playoff game, caught a 46-yard touchdown. Caught it, took it to the house. Chubb can catch passes. I think Chubb is the play. I think Dearness in your lineup is a mistake this week. Ran amazing last week. Something that went overlooked that we didn't really talk about. They got one of their best offensive linemen back last week, and that sort of opened up things for Dearness. Now, he ran, motivated and angry, and he was amazing. Well, now Chubb's going to get that same healthier offensive line. So I think Dearness is a mistake today if you play him. We talk about this all the time. You have to be more proactive, predictive than reactive. You had Dearness last week. You got your points from Dearness last week. Don't make a mistake of putting him in your lineup over somebody better. Last week was by McGinnis. You had a lot of guys out. You needed them. You got them. Do yourself a favor. Put him on the bench. Put the normal guys back in. Now, he could end up doing something. You'd be like, guess you're such a damn moron. Well, he could also end up doing nothing because Cleveland, yes, they run two backs, but that's when it's Chubb and Hunt. That's all I'm saying. And when it's not done, when Hunt's out, it's Chubb. When Chubb's out, it's Hunt. And they don't use another guy. Even last week, they were both out. They just used really one. Our boy, Demetric Felton, had like 2 carries, a couple of receptions. OBJ, it's not that I don't like him. He can't catch the ball. He can't help himself. Doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. It's falling off his hands. How does this dude have the greatest one-handed catch in history, right? Aside from, who was it the other night?
Daniel Jones is actually the one who has the greatest one-handed catch now, I think, going forward.
I don't even know. Mercedes Lewis might after Thursday night.
You're right.
That was pretty
yeah, I know.
That thing was a rocket, and it just stuck to his hand like Velcro. But he can't catch the ball. So for me, it's Landry if I must, and it's Chubb. And on the flip side, on the other side, you got to go with Harris. You got to go with Deontay. Claypool, sure. And I'm telling you, Freiermuth is ascending. He's sitting out there on waiver wires. People have we've talked about it all season. Tight end, you get 3 receptions for 30-something yards, you're doing all right.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to get double that from Freiermuth today because you've been getting close to double that. Would not be surprised if he gets 5 for 50 or 60 yards today and probably gets in the end zone. He's ascending. And before we even get to game, there's a list of ascending tight ends that you got to watch out for right now. Kmet, we talked about. Freiermuth, and before we get to the game, Troutman. Troutman's ascending for the Saints. So if you are struggling at tight end, maybe you're a Knox owner or something, those are the 3 guys you should be looking at. And I know Mo Cox too, and Wentz is looking for him in the end zone. That's big, but I put him 4th behind these guys. So if you are in need of tight end help, Freiermuth is worth a look in this game for sure. You can win over the middle.
And Eric Ebrom's out. He's out this game, so that definitely helps his situation as well. All right, let's go to BJ here. Flex, Aaron Eckler or DeAndre Swift. It sounds like Eckler is going to play, but Swift is also questionable.
Yeah.
But he's always questionable. So.
You know what? I go with Swift here. Swift is doing exactly what I thought he would. I say he's going to catch 80 to 100 balls. I think that's going to easily happen. Said that week one. And they just trust him more and more. They're using him more and more. And I think this is a game that Detroit will actually win before we even get to that game. Playing against the Eagles.
Same thing, man.
You know, they've been so close. And I think the Eagles are beatable. And the way that they're going to be able to do it is using Swift. Eckler had, hurt late in the week. They're going to play him. All you need is a twinge. And he's gone. And he himself, this is well publicized. I was going to say publicized. He wants the other three guys to step up. He's like, he's like, Kelly, Jackson, Roundtree, step up. I need some help. So I think you see him take himself out of the game a little bit extra today to try and get those guys sort of going. I think it's Swift, and I think it's a no-brainer.
I agree with you. That Detroit game, for some reason, I've been thinking the same exact thing all week. This is a game that they should win. Actually, that's the next game on our list. Philadelphia Eagles and Detroit Lions. Miles Sanders on IR now. Gainwell and Boston Scott's pickups of the week. Are we comfortable starting both of those guys? Or could they be looking to throw the ball a little bit more? Are we going to start seeing a little bit more Rager? Is this a Goddard kind of game going against the Detroit defense, who's actually not that bad, but they give up a lot to the tight end? On the other side, you just mentioned Swift. I agree. I think Swift. Can we start any wide receivers? I mean, I can't even think of his name. Ray something. Raymore? Raymond. Is he actually a okay start as a wide receiver 3 or a flex? And they're trusting Goff, I guess, to be able to start a guy like that.
Yeah, hottest waiver wire pickups of the week were pretty much Gainwell and Boston Scott. But I think they're going to eat off of each other and eat into each other. And until we see, and it won't even really matter if we do see because it could flip-flop or whatever, but I don't trust either one of them. Mostly, not even because of that. It's because they have just put Jordan Howard on the team. What? No.
What year is it?
Like, I don't understand. It's like Doug Peterson is still running this football team, and he's not. Like, it makes me wonder if the coach is actually not coaching. Like, it makes me wonder if, like, the owner is coaching because nothing has changed. And they don't run the ball enough to begin with. We thought that they would a little more last week. They kind of did. It's like, take what happened last week. This is me talking last week. Say, take what happened last week, so 2 weeks ago, with Sanders punching the Bucs in the face and running all over them, and run some more. And they really didn't. They kind of did, but they really didn't. And now you got two running backs that are both kind of the same running backs, in Gainwell and Scott. And you're bringing in Jordan Howard. So if they get close and it's not Jalen Hurts running it in, it's probably going to be Jordan Howard punching in from the 1 yard line. And I don't even want to chance it with either one of them. I'm sorry. You picked them up this week. I picked up Boston Scott in the league. He's just there. He's there really to hope that maybe he gets lucky and does something this game and I can trade him. They don't run the ball enough. I know Detroit is this super beatable matchup, but you don't know if it's going to be him. You don't know if it's going to be Gainwell. Now they're bringing Jordan Howard in. Jalen Hurts can run the ball. The wide receivers, you play Goddard, play Rager if you must. Buzz Watkins, this is a team that he should be able to beat deep. And as far as the Lions, Swift, love him in the game. Sponge for hands, you could use him, TJ. And Amon-Ra. Other than that, I don't want anything. This game could be very high scoring. It could be low 20s, high teens. You play your studs from the game. You stay away from the fill-ins. There's nobody on bye. If you've been rolling, there is, but only 2 teams, not 6 like last week. If you've been rolling with who you've been rolling with, roll them.
You're right, man. It's just so weird. The bye weeks. I still don't understand. It's like you have 2 teams this week. You couldn't move 2 teams from last week to this week. Like,
Oh, good.
I think they did it for a fantasy perspective. I hate to say. I don't know. Like again, conspiracy theorist. Like, what is Goodell thinking? It's like, you know what? We're going to take out almost every single offensive team this week, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what? They probably got more viewership because people were like, "Oh crap! There's a lot of teams that are out. We should probably see what's happening." All right, next one here. Los Angeles Rams at the Houston Texans. It was a close game last week for the Rams. I mean, they kind of were in a situation where it's like, holy crap, are they – I'm sorry. Am I thinking the week before? I have no clue what week I'm up to. Oh, no, they played Detroit. Yeah, they played Detroit. Anyways, Cooper Kupp, obviously the best wide receiver in the league. Can we start a Van Jefferson? Can we start a Bobby Woods with comfort because Stafford, the way he's been throwing the ball? And Henderson's all systems go, man. I mean, I really think you got to start Henderson on an every week basis now here. On the flip side, Davis Mills is still your quarterback. Are we comfortable starting Cooks against this Rams defense with Ramsey on him? Anybody else? Can we look at anybody else on this team? More Collins? Big thing. Ingram got traded. Oh, what does that mean now for like a Phillip Lindsay? Does he see the field a little bit more, or is it a David Johnson game?
My memory is playing tricks on me. Did Cooks play for the Rams?
He did.
And the Patriots.
He got traded to the
Saints.
Patriots. Correct. He got traded from the Patriots to the Rams. Yep.
Okay. So a little bit of a revenge game. Not really. But I guess.
He was on there, I think, less than half a season, or less than a season, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was a full, but I'm not 100%.
But people love that narrative, so we'll mention it. Okay. I got to tell you, I was talking to a woman I work with, and I help her with her fantasy lineups. And I told her to join Answers by Guess, and she said, "I'm not on Facebook, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Well, we're on, YouTube and this, that, and the third, and I'll just get your help at work." Okay. All right. Okay. So, like, she's got Cooper Kupp. And I was like, I have a feeling, who was it? It was Waddle and Lamb. I was like, I got a feeling Waddle and Lamb, they're on her bench in 12-team league. And but she got Debo and Kupp as her 2 wide receiver starters. I said, I got a feeling Waddle and Lamb could outscore Cooper Kupp. But there's no way that you're benching Cooper Kupp.
Can't.
It's just this game could get out of hand so quick that they're not going to put Kupp out there. They're not going to put Woods out there. They're up 20-plus points in the second quarter. I mean, they'll keep playing them, but halfway through the third quarter rolls around. If this game is ridiculously out of hand, you're missing a half of production. So this is one of those games. It happens quite often. Usually it doesn't hurt you too bad. But this is one of those games where you got to hope you get that production early. Woods, play him. Kupp, play him. Henderson, if you've been riding with him, keep riding with him. Not somebody I liked in the preseason, so I'm not going to recommend him, but go ahead. As far as the Texans, it's Cooks. You can't, Nico Collins, you can't do it. And we'll see if David Johnson, if they finally use him with no Mark Ingram. He has looked the best. He is the best. I know you mentioned Phillip Lindsay. I think that they would be smart to just use him as the spell. David Johnson, for what it's worth, is the best running back on the roster, and he's been the best running back on the roster all season long. They got rid of Ingram, who was stealing all the carries and the touchdowns. And now it's David Johnson. So he's somebody who it's going to be very, very tough this week against the Rams. But he's somebody that you should be picking up if you have not already, if nobody else has, because in the easier matchups, like if they get to play the Jags again, maybe even like Tennessee, even the Colts. I know the defense is trending upwards, but the division that they're in, David Johnson could do some things. Don't love him in this game. Maybe a flex in the PPR, but other than that, I mean, it's Cooks really, and how quick has it fallen with Mr. Mills? I mean, it's not going to get any better against this Rams defense. I think this game is going to be over by halftime.
They have to do what Detroit did last week. They have to kind of do some trick plays or get the Rams off their heels and stuff like that. That's what definitely helped. And I hope that they watched that last week because they're like, all right, we got to come in with that same type of game plan. Out of the dark, super shot in the dark for dynasty team. Watch for Scotty Phillips. That's a name that he's the third running back. He's behind Lindsey. If Lindsey does not productive, Scotty Phillips might be somebody to pay attention to. All right. Beat me up, Scotty. All right. Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Titans are beating up on that KC team. They've been playing and trending up tremendously over the last couple weeks here. Julio's out. He's always hurt, it seems like now. Doesn't make a difference. But anyways, AJ Brown, are we comfortable starting him? Obviously, you're starting Derrick Henry. Your boy Evans on IR already again. Poor kid. Can't stay on the field. Can we start anybody else on this Titans team? Are we comfortable even starting a Tannehill if we needed to? On the flip side, Colts beat up on the 49ers last week. Taylor is involved. Hines is involved. Michael Pittman is their best wide receiver. Anybody else we are comfortable starting on the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, the Titans run ends this week. You have the Colts at home, and I feel like they're trending in a direction that is going to help them out offensively against the Titans secondary. Titans took it to at home Kansas City last week, and Casey never really recovered. But I think that their poor secondary shows up in this one. You play your Michael Pittman. Zach Pascal was starting to get a little more involved last week. I think Hilton's playing, or is he not? You're not playing him anyways. But if Hilton's not playing, or if Hilton is playing and goes out, Pascal could be a problem.
Still questionable
for Tennessee in this game. Nyheim Hines, look to see him to get a little more involved. And Taylor, you play Taylor without a doubt. So definite Taylor and Pittman. And if you're in a super deep league, Hines and Pascal are worth something. The Titans is just the two. I think the two are Henry and AJ Brown. I think the Colts kind of obliterate the Titans in this one. I mean, it's not going to be ridiculous, but I feel like this is a double-digit win and with a little bit of ease. I think the Titans are coming off of two really huge games, and both of them at home. And I feel like, a little bit of that energy gets drawn out of them on the road. And I think Indianapolis wins this game by at least 10 points.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I mean, Carson Wentz is actually playing pretty good. I think it's their offensive line that helps tremendously, though. Wentz, if he didn't have that line, would be Wentz of Philly. All right, Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets. I had the Bengals last week. I had Burrow and I had Chase, and they exploded for me. Are they going to do the same exact thing against this Jets team? Are we comfortable starting all three, or is it going to be the kind of same situation that you said with the Rams in Houston? Is it going to be such a blowout that this is going to be like a mix-in game? Evans now out, so is P. Ryan going to get more of the love? And are we okay with starting a P. Ryan, say, for example, in a flex against the New York Jets defense that's looked horrible last week, but has actually played okay before then? Are we starting anybody on the Jets? I mean, Corey Davis is doubtful. It looks like he's going to be out. Can Jamison Crowder be a good fill-in this week for people?
Yeah, it's going to be like that Houston Rams game, but it's not going to be as bad. If Corey Davis wasn't injured and playing, I actually think the Jets would have a pretty decent shot in this one with the Bengals going on the road after their huge win. It's tough to do. These teams, they're not Supermen. They look like Supermen. They play like Supermen. To us, they're Supermen, but they're not. And getting up for such a big game and putting that much energy into a team, especially division rival like the Bengals did last week and absolutely smoking them, takes a lot out of you. And then you go on the road and you play against a team that is okay. The Jets, the Jets, Rob, sorry.
Mike White. Let's go.
But they're okay. They're okay.
I love them.
And that's tough. And I feel like if they had Corey Davis, I would give them a little bit of a better shot to pull the upset. I think this game will be a little bit closer. than in annihilation, like I think that the Rams and Houston is going to be. But yeah, the quarterback situation, if he stinks, they can just put Flacco in and hope for the best if he's active. And Corey Davis would give them one. I mean, they got Mims. They got more, right? So it's not dead, and they got a few running backs there. Carter's been coming on, so they'll utilize that. And I do think they keep it closer, but I do think the Bengals win. Bengals are a popular pickup for defenses, which I don't think is a bad call. But I do think the Jets. I feel like the head coach Saleh. Feel like he's going to come with a few tricks in this one. They need a win. He needs a win. What better time to pull out some tricks than at home when you're down your quarterback, when you're down your best receiver. I think Crowder's an absolute slam dunk play in this one. And as far as the Bengals go, just put them in if you've been using them. The only downside you have is if I'm wrong and it does get out of hand, then it's just going to be P. Ryan running the ball because Evans isn't playing, I don't think. He's super questionable. Oh. Yeah. And so Mixon, they're not going to run him out there. So it'll be just pretty much P. Ryan. And I don't even know if they still have, what's his name? A boy that I used to love, the running back. Yeah, I can't even think of his name. I'll think of it. Whatever. But the wide receivers.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. I can't think of his name. I had like 5 of his cards.
Trayvon Williams?
Yes, Travion
Williams.
Right. So maybe they use him. Maybe they call him up in this game because Evans is out. He's been sitting on the practice squad. So worst comes to worst, it's a blowout. And Mixon does something in the first half for you all. But you got to play Mixon. You got to play Chase. There's no way you're benching them. Boyd and Higgins. Seems like they're flip-flopping back and forth, but if you've been using them in that third spot or that flex spot, go ahead. Jets defense is beatable, but I think this game's a little bit closer, so that's going to help. It's going to help your Bengals with this game being a little closer.
Are you okay with starting Uzuma?
He's exactly what I thought he was. He's so boomer bust. I mean, he's doing what he's doing, but he's doing it on a small target share. So it's like if the balls that he's catching, if the targets he's getting aren't going for these big touchdowns, he's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. So I'd rather take a shot that's getting more targets, more playing time. Drew Sample's still around. So I'd rather go with Kmet, Freiermuth, Troutman, Moelle Cox. Moelle Cox is in the same life as CJ Uzoma. Uzoma is just getting 40-yard touchdowns, and Moelle Cox is getting like 4-yard touchdowns, 14-yard touchdowns.
I actually picked up Dan Arnold going against Seattle for this week. I think Seattle's at home and they're always playing in 12th man and stuff like that. I think that Jacksonville, I think, is actually going to step up this game and have a really big offense game. I feel like Dan Arnold's going to be that one, man. So somebody to pay attention to as well. All right, New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. New England obviously beat up on the Jets last week. Belichick was like, I don't care what the score is. I'm just going to keep on running it down your throat. Obviously coming up against a Los Angeles Chargers team who were on a bye last week, who got beat up the week before that by Baltimore. Is New England, I mean, you're starting Harris, I would assume. Are you Aguilar? I mean, the tight ends. Jonnu's beat up, but he actually played okay. It looks like he was back at practice. Can we start all of our Patriots? On the Chargers side, with Eckler being banged up, do we feel comfortable using somebody else? It looks like he is going to play, but can we use one of those other ancillary guys this week? Mike Williams, obviously, Keenan Allen. Are we okay with going for our tight ends here as well? I mean, it seems like they're trying to go to tight ends more, especially in the red zone.
We have another revenge game, don't we? Hunter Henry going against his old team. I think the Patriots are going to win this game. I think that they're going to shut down Herbert, they're going to get after him. And the one thing that is very, I don't want to say easy, but smart of you to expose, is to run against the Chargers. They can't stop the run. They can't. And Harris has just been running like a crazy man. And like I said last week, he looked so fast and strong, like it didn't even look like him. I looked at the TV, I saw him run, I saw 37. I said, there's no way that's Harris. And I love Harris. I've loved Harris since the beginning of time with Harris.
Since the beginning of time.
He looked like another person. He was skinny. He was fast. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And he's going to run all over this team. He's going to run all over them. And they're going to utilize that, and they'll take their shots. I'm going to make a prediction.
I'm ready for it.
Jacoby Myers finally scores a touchdown.
Whoa.
Finally.
No.
Yes. He finally scores a touchdown. I'm not going to recommend him because I didn't like him in the preseason, and I made a promise to myself and to all of you that I would stop recommending guys that I didn't like in the preseason. But Jacoby Myers will score a touchdown today. And I just hit something on my screen, and it popped up, and I don't know what it is. There you go. I got rid of it. Yeah, Aguilar, whatever, if you must. Hunter Henry, I like him, especially playing against his old team, and it's a tight end, so yeah. He only got like one or two catches last week and the week before, but they'll get him more involved today. But I think they run. They run. And as far as the Chargers go, I don't like Eckler, just because, I mean, all it's going to take is one, and he wants the other guys to get more involved. But I don't like the other guys this week either. I think Keenan Allen could bounce back, and Williams, and if you absolutely must, Cook and Parham. But I do think the Patriots win this one. I think they do some stuff to disrupt Herbert, and I see Damian Williams having a big game. He's my favorite play of this entire thing.
Damian Harris.
That's it.
Boomski.
Yeah.
All right, next one here. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Seattle Seahawks. Like I mentioned, I have a feeling like that, kind of that feeling that you said Detroit's going to win. I kind of feel that Jacksonville is going to like really step up. It's going to be a Trevor Lawrence game. I can see Agnew getting a lot of love. I can see Dan Arnold getting a lot of love against the Seattle defense, who's not good. I mean, I don't know. They're a bad team overall, I guess. But anyways, obviously J-Rob, are we comfortable starting anybody else on that team? On the flip side, we're worried. I mean, Metcalf had the huge touchdown, but they did nothing after that. Yeah. Are we okay with starting a Metcalf still? Are we okay with starting a Lockett? I know these guys are. How do you even ask those questions? You have to be in your lineup. If you have a better option, are we okay with that? And then on the run game, just talk about it because their run game is just all crazy.
Yeah, I feel like, and I talked about this on the Tuesday show, the Seattle defense seems to be trending in the right direction. And having a game at home, and I think what you put there right on the screen, clear, sunny, 53 degrees. It makes a big difference. And what makes another big difference that they're playing the Jacksonville defense, not the New Orleans defense.
Okay.
So we saw their offense struggle mightily last week. Now listen, my dogs are barking like ridiculous.
That was me.
Geno Smith is not the man by any means.
I love him.
Dogs.
Distracted a little there, sir.
A little. They're morons. I'm sorry, I love them to death, but they're absolute morons. There's probably nothing even occurring. They just feel like barking. But anyways, the offense will be able to move the ball a bit more easily. Gerald Everett, let's see if he actually does something with his life. The problem is Disley's still there, Parkinson's still there, and they're getting in his way a little bit. Metcalf, Lockett's done nothing, but this is a defense you do those sort of things against. Now, also, I hope and I pray that Geno Smith is terrible, or they have to take him out for some sort of, because Jacob Eason.
You love him.
Let's get Jacob Eason in the game, please, because this is your last shot, right? This is your last shot because next week's a bye and week 10 is Russell Wilson's back. So Jacob Eason, let's get him in the game, especially against Jacksonville defense. Make him look like a stud. Make it happen. We'll see. DK, you play him. Running backs as far as they go. Collins is going to play. I just want him to sit. I want Penny to get a shot. What better team for Penny to get a shot against? Get your feet wet for these guys against the Jags. I think that Seattle, I'm not totally disagreeing with you, Rob, but I feel like their defense is trending in the right direction. If their offense does anything of note in this one, I feel like the defense will do enough to disrupt Mr. Lawrence. Dude, we've talked about it week in and week out, show in and show out, twice a week at minimum. Trevor Lawrence has stopped running backwards. If you haven't noticed this yet and you're watching this show, watch the game. When he drops back, there's pressure on. He just keeps running backwards. He just keeps going backwards. 5 yards, 5 more yards, 5 more yards. He's 15 yards, 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, rolling around, scrambling, throwing the ball. Stop doing that. Run to the side and try and move forward. He hasn't shorted up yet. Maybe the bye week helped him. Maybe they fix that. We'll see. But, they got weapons. I did say that Seattle defense trending upward, but my boy, J-Rob, there's no way you're sitting him. And Agnew continues to be more and more involved. Big Marv, if you do it, if you must. And Shenault, why not with these guys? And Rob mentioned Dan Arnold. You could certainly do worse. So Jacksonville's got weapons. Let's see. I'm not disagreeing with you, Rob. I just think it's going to be a little bit tougher because it's going to be clear and it's in Seattle with that 12th man. And the defense, I feel like, is trending up.
I mean, they should be trending up. I mean, their defense is, they got Jamal out. I mean, you would think that they would actually have a good secondary, but I don't know. It just, for me, I don't see it. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think the bye week helps Trevor Lawrence with the Agnew and with Darnold. I think that's where I'm kind of getting that feeling. It's like they took the time to work with those two guys specifically just to get them more involved because they see that they're playmakers, you know? All right, next one here.
Real quick, because Sean joined us real quick. Let's get Sean F. from YouTube.
Sure. Eli Mitchell, Jalen Waddle, or Darrell Williams. Choose one.
Sean, welcome from YouTube. Welcome. I'm going to go with Mr. Eli Mitchell. I like Waddle, his favorite option. But the Niners are better with Eli on the field, and Eli has looked great, and he is their RB1. I know Waddle's his favorite option, but it's a tough matchup. They'll be looking to take him out. And the Darrell Williams thing, I mean, we haven't gotten to the game, but McKinnon's still a little involved. I feel like, they're going to try and do what they need to do with Mahomes. They should be smarter. But we love Derek Gore, or at least I do. And he got an amazing catch last week, and I feel like they'll use him a little bit more this week. Darrell Williams could punch it in a couple times from the one, but I'm going to go with Eli Mitchell in this one. I feel like it's a better play.
If they use him the way, I mean, think about the first drive. He had like 60-something yards and a touchdown, and then you're like, you know what? I don't think we're giving him the ball anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Thanks.
Especially in that weather? Like, it just didn't make any sense.
Thanks. Lose by 1.5.
Yeah, I know. Ridiculous. All right, Washington football team at the Denver Broncos. Washington got beat up by Green Bay last week, but Gibson wasn't 100% healthy. It looks like Gibson's practicing in full. You said you're comfortable with starting Gibson this week. How does that change the dynamic of this offense, though? A lot of people high on Ricky Seals-Jones just because the amount of targets that he's seeing. Are you on the board yet for Ricky Seals-Jones with all those targets? Denver coming off the mini bye. You mentioned Javonte Williams. Fantastic stats, but he's still splitting 50-50 with Melvin Gordon. Can you start both those guys? Jerry Jeudy, he's back. How does that affect every wide receiver on this team?
How good was that movie last week, our feature presentation? Dearness Goes to Town. Dearness went to town against Denver. That is how you beat Denver. You run away. That's why I like Gibson so much this week. I feel like they're going to run against Denver,
You shook it.
especially what's his face got hurt last week. It was Miller, right?
Oh, Miller got hurt in Denver?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
um, yeah. So you run. I like Gibson in this one. We pivoted. I had mentioned it before. We had been playing Javante over Gibson, but we made the flip. And we are going to go, yes, you can run against Washington. Yes, I still like Javante as a play this week, but I like Gibson over. I think Gibson finally gets in the end zone this week. It's been at least a few weeks that he's been off that. McLaurin, go ahead. If you like Ricky Seals Jones, go ahead. I don't like him, so I'm not going to recommend him. Sorry, not sorry. Um, as far as Denver goes, Cortland, my boy, might as well. Washington's secondary is terrible. Jerry Judy's going to help Sutton, not hurt Sutton. That's just a fact. Noah Fant, top 5 tight end. Enough said. I feel like this game is a game where you play your names, and it's going to be a tough game. Both teams really need a win. Both teams have been faltering for weeks, if not a month. And both teams have some really good playmakers. There's two teams whose defenses should be better than they are, and two teams have some really good offensive playmakers. Gibson, McLaurin, that other guy who I'm not going to recommend. If you must use him, go ahead. McKissick, people have been playing McKissick. Again, another one. Do what you do. But I like Gibson over Javante. If you're somebody who's been sitting Gibson, like we have, Rob, like I have in 2 leagues because I own Gibson in another league as well, a little turned off by the shin. They took him off the injury report. He practiced in full 2 days in a row. The injury did not go away, but you run against the Broncos. That's what allowed Dearness to go to town last week. Play Gibson. If you've been sitting Gibson, you play him this week. That's my biggest recommendation for this game.
All right. Next one here. Tampa Bay Bucks at the New Orleans Saints. Bucks are getting Gronk back. Not that should make a huge difference. I know you're not high on Gronk, but target share does change a little bit. Antonio Brown's still out. We saw Godwin get the most receiving yards, the most receptions, and a touchdown, but then you saw Evans with 3. How does that kind of change the dynamic against a New Orleans Saints defense? It's actually playing pretty well. Division game. Could this be an actual closer matchup than what the paper is kind of showing? I mean, they're saying that Tampa Bay is going to destroy them. New Orleans is home. How do we feel about that situation as far as who's getting the ball on that side? And is it just Fournette? You can't start anybody else. Saints getting Ingram back. Does that help Kamara or does that hurt Kamara? That's a question that I think a lot of people are trying to figure out the value of what Ingram's going to be. Let's talk about that. And then Michael Thomas is not close. Callaway seems to be the person. I mean, they have now Kenny Stills. They have a bunch of other ancillary guys. Can you start any wide receivers really from this team?
Yeah, we've been nailing it every single week with the Bucks of who's going to be the one. We've been nailing it. We nailed week 1 with Gronk. We nailed with Antonio Brown. We've been picking exactly perfect because it's kind of easy. There's a pattern, right? If it's this guy, then guess what? Next week, it's probably this guy. And it's kind of simple. And last week, I said Mike Evans was going to have a huge game. He did. Which means, by default, this is going to be Chris Godwin. Now, what makes that even simpler is that Mike Evans traditionally struggles against Lattimore. So it's like, no brainer. So if you're somebody who benched Evans last week for whatever reason, and hopefully you have been a member and a watcher of this show for the 5 seasons we've been doing it, you cannot chase last week's stats. You missed the boat. It's over. You lost. It's gone. There's no getting it back. You lost that love and feeling. If you benched Evans because of whatever reason, And you're like, oh, man, I'm so stupid. I bet he had 3 touchdowns. I got to put him in my lineup. Not the week. Not the time. Never is. Evans is going to have a down game because of this, the ebbs and flows, and because of the matchup. Would not be surprised if Mr. Johnson gets involved in this one because they're going to need him, Tyler. And it's going to be Godwin week. Godwin's going to be the big one. Yeah, Gronk's coming back. Yeah, Brady will look for Gronk. He plays the whole game. They get close. Gronk's definitely scoring a touchdown. But between the 20s, I don't see them using him much, which is what I said in the preseason. I said, Gronk will be your red zone guy. I said, I love Gronk week 1. Week 1 will be his best game of the season. To this point, that's held up. And I think that's what it's going to be with Gronk is you'll get him in the red zone. You get lucky if you get a touchdown. You probably get one. That's all you really need is from a tight end. 6 points is pretty good. And whatever frosting goes on top of that. But I think Godwin is your play. I think that Leonard Fournette, again, not somebody I loved too much this preseason, but that's kind of because I love Rojo so much. It's kind of gross. But
you do love Rojo, bro.
but I don't hate Fournette because, like, I love Fournette when he was with Jacksonville. But whatever. I feel like this is a tough matchup. The Saints have a really good rush defense. We saw that last week. We saw that the week before their bye in week 6, week 5. So I think that it's going to be a struggle for them to run the ball with him. So I think that and the Bucs just want Brady to break the touchdown record. I mean, if that's not clear to anybody by now, I don't know what you are watching. When they get close, they're just throwing. Like, that's all they want to do is just throw. Get Brady another passing touchdown. So Fournette, downgrade, and Mike Evans, downgrade in this one. As far as the Saints go, Troutman, he is trending up. Juwan Johnson was a name I gave you in the preseason. Showed up week 1, scored his 2 touchdowns, but it was only on like 2 or 3 passes. He's kind of faded to oblivion. Troutman is ascending. And if he's sitting out there in the waiver wire and you have been having issues at tight end, my advice is go pick him up because he's 24 years old. He's a 3rd-round draft pick 2 years ago, and he's their centerpiece for the future at tight end, and it's only going to get better. They're not going to have Jameis Winston forever, so the quarterback play is only going to get better. And when they bring in a new quarterback, tight end is what they're going to rely on. Adam Troutman is somebody you need to pick up, especially if you're in a dynasty league. I did so myself. I just dropped Gerald Everett in a dynasty league to pick up Troutman because somebody dropped Troutman. I like him. I like him a lot in this game. This is, yes, you got to punch Tampa Bay in the mouth. We talked about it. We saw it with Miles Sanders. We talked about it last week with the Bears. Herbert did so. He punched him right in the mouth, ran for 100 yards. That's what you need to do, but you can also pass on them. So I like Troutman. Callaway is like, nobody loves Callaway more than me. Told you his name last September, not this past one, 2020 September. I don't know. Jameis Winston with that deep ball. Yeah, I'd rather go Troutman. And as far as the Mark Ingram go, I think he slides right in. Same exact coaching staff, same exact scheme. Would not surprise me if he scores a touchdown today. Well, you're not using him.
I have a question for you from a defensive standpoint. I picked up the Chargers defense. I kind of had them in, but I have the Saints defense, and I kind of want to play the Saints defense, but I'm like, I don't know. The Chargers may be coming off a bye week. You had mentioned that you think Patriots are going to kind of beat them up. So I have a bench spot open. I was actually thinking about picking the Detroit Lions defense and playing them against Philly. Out of those 3 defenses, which one would you go with?
I'd probably go with the Chargers.
Okay.
Just because they're going against a rookie quarterback, they're going to struggle to stop the run. But if they could force Mac Jones into a mistake or two, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to do that to Brady. And I don't think Detroit's defense is good enough I mean, if they were just a little better, if their offense was a little better, I'd be like, oh, pick up Detroit's. But their offense isn't good enough to play their defense, in my mind.
All right, so my gut is correct then. All right, Dallas at Minnesota Vikings. Dallas coming off the bye. I mean, just Dak is the question. If Dak doesn't play, and it seems like he's going to be a game time decision, and you're in a situation where Dak's your quarterback, are you taking the chance? And if he does play, is it all systems go with everybody? If he doesn't play, how does that affect your wide receivers here? I mean, even your running backs. How does that change the whole entire? Is it just going to be a Zeke game? On the flip side, again, somebody else coming up. Cook should be a little healthier. Obviously, you said Matson's just a fill-in for when Cook's there. The wide receiver standpoint, can we see a KJ Osborne go off a little bit here? Can we see Conklin, those ancillary guys? Thielen and Jefferson, you're more than likely going to play, especially if Dak does go, because it's going to be an offensive game. Can you see those other guys, though, playing well and are worth a start on a Sunday night?
Yeah, just because of the field and because of the setting, nighttime, the magic's there. I'm not downgrading the Cowboys too much because of whatever quarterback it may or may not be. I'm not. And there's a couple of reasons behind that. Yeah, Dak obviously is an upgrade over, but let's just say it's not Dak. And let's say that they got to put in one or maybe even two if the first one struggles, backups. Right?
Cooper Rush is the backup.
Yeah. Minnesota's going to score points, I think. I like the Dallas defense as a play. They're opportunistic. Defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year so far on their team. But I feel like Minnesota's going to score points at home. And the Dallas offense is going to have to keep up with them. So I'm not downgrading anybody. I don't even like Schultz. I think Schultz is an effect of Gallup being out. Gallup's going to get brought back slowly, so I'm not downgrading Schultz. I think if it's a backup, guess what? Schultz is that security blanket. If it's a backup, Cooper's your possession guy. If it's a backup, CeeDee Lamb is a guy you can give a quick screen to and he can bust it down the field. I'm not downgrading my Dallas players. And I'm certainly not downgrading from where they are, Zeke or Pollard, running against this Minnesota defense. I don't think it matters too much. A lot of people are going to get scared off by the switch from Dak to Cooper, or if there's a third string that I'm not thinking of. I don't even think they have Ben DiNucci anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not. For whatever reason, Dak's been great. But I'm not downgrading them. Not like last season. Last season, I think people are thinking about how last season was when Dak wasn't there and they went through the DiNucci and the Dalton and they were absolutely putrid on offense. For some reason, I feel like it's not going to be like that if Dak doesn't.
Their offensive line is a lot healthier this year, too.
And that's what I was going to get to.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, and that was the bigger issue last year than not the quarterback. So if you are a Dallas player owner, keep them in. Keep them in. If it's not Dak, you keep them in. It's Sunday night. You get the Sunday night magic. You play your guys. Same with Minnesota. Play your guys. The only guy that you have to bench is Madison because we talked about it. Whenever Cook plays, Madison's worthless.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Let's go on to your Monday night game that you've been talking about since the first one.
Yeah.
You said that you picked up Daniel Jones and you're playing Daniel Jones over 2.
Yeah. Vanilla Vic.
Tell us why.
Vanilla Vic.
As far as Shepard looks like he's coming back. Tony looks like he's coming back. Slayton should be healthy. Galladay out again. Barkley out again. Are we okay with starting Booker against this Kansas City defense that has just been horrible? I was looking at stats and they're like last in almost every single category.
Yeah.
On the flip side, this is a get-right game. I think it has to be for Mahomes. I mean, he got hit pretty bad last week. He came back into the game. How does that affect? I mean, everyone's worried about Kelsey. Everyone's worried about Hill. Is it all systems go? Is everyone going to catch a touchdown against the Giant defense who's okay? I mean, they're not horrible. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Kelsey. I'm not worried about Hill. I only own Kelsey. I don't own Hill anywhere, but I'm not worried about it. Listen, they played some tough defenses, and the Giants, like you just said, they're okay. They're not terrible, but they're not great. Kansas City's now is at home. It's Monday night. Patrick Mahomes hears what's being said. It's prime time. He's going to come through. And being at home and being Monday night is the absolute perfect recipe for him to shut everybody up. To shut everybody up. And the Giants are a perfect opponent to do that against. And because of all of that is the reason that I love Daniel Jones as your QB streamer. He's going to get the rush yards, Mr. Vanilla Vic himself. He's getting 2 weapons back. Tony Shepard. Evan Ingram's been playing. Booker is somebody that I can't recommend to you all because I'm not a fan. I think Rob last week made a better call. They don't really use him too much, but Elijah Penny, right, looked better when he was in there. But they continued to just have Booker be the one. But love Tony in this game. Love Shepard in this game. I think they're both going to be more than fine. Ingram, if you absolutely need a tight end. My biggest issue with Ingram is and has always been, can he get through the whole game healthy? Slayton is one that I wouldn't really be playing at this point of my life or the season. But, I just feel like this game is going to be offensive fun. And I feel like you're going to want as many pieces of this with quality players. I'd play Slayton over D-Rob. I mean, nobody loves D-Rob more than me. I'd play Slayton over Pringle. I might even play Slayton over Mecole Hardman. But I don't really want to. I want the big 3 for each team for the most part. And Darrell Williams, I know you're going to want Darrell Williams, but listen, I'm going to keep telling you, it's Monday night. The world is watching. Let's get Derek Gore the ball. You see the catch he made last week. Put him in the game.
Yeah, and I would say, guys, again, if Shepard and Tony, if one of those guys don't go, you have to have somebody to pivot to. Hardman might be out there on some. I mean, Hardman, like you said, is Hill when Hill's not there. So that's somebody to pivot to. Slayton, someone to pivot to, even a D-Rob. But just make sure that you have an option just in case.
Yeah, Casey bounces back, and because of that, you want to have some Giants in there.
All right, we're going to jump into questiones.
Okay.
All right. Sean, would you make any changes?
Yeah, my underwear.
All right, I'm going to bring up on the screen here.
Oh.
All right. Let's see if I can you see it, or is it too small?
No, I looked at his team. I think the other day. I think it looks pretty good.
All right. Let me take that off the screen. So you have these, your starting lineup, and then this is your bench.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You're good, Sean. Keep it.
All right. Sean is good. All right. Next one. Josue with the question. All right. Lawrence versus Seattle, Tua versus Buffalo, or Teddy versus Washington?
Oh, gosh. I honestly might just stick with Tua. I know Rob will probably go with Lawrence.
I kind of feel Lawrence. This guy, I don't know why. It just keeps on popping in my head, man.
Yeah. So definitely not Teddy. Teddy, you don't even know if he's going to play the whole game. They need to go to Drew Lock. Not, even if Drew Lock's not better, they need to. The offense is stagnant.
All right. John with the question. PPR flex spot, Judy, Tony, Carter, or Booker?
I'm going to go with Tony. I feel like he's going to play, and he's going to just hop right back in, man. Going with Tony. If you're at all nervous about that, go with Judy. But I just said the offense is stagnant, and I'm going to go with Tony. Going with Tony. Do it. Have faith.
I like Michael Carter, man. I don't know why. I think he's going to have a decent game. Tony's the right choice. I totally agree with you. He's going to get love, especially in a Monday nighter. It gives you another opportunity there. But Michael Carter's trending up, man. Over 100 yards last week. He had 8 receptions. Mike White was looking for him consistently. I can see him and Crowder having a pretty decent game, especially if you're saying since it's going to be a closer game than you think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Antonio. Antonio Brown is out, so no him. Lamb, Pittman, or McLaurin. I need one out. All right.
That could be AJ too. That's
could be AJ. Okay.
If you need one out and it's Antonio, there's your answer. If you don't, then I would probably sit Lamb. I don't know. I love all 4 of those options. Gronk or Henry. I'm going to go with Henry.
I'm going to choose opposite. I'm going to go Gronk just because of the potential in the red zone.
Okay.
All right. Antonio with the next one. Pittman, Hubbard, or Cooks, PPR?
Play 1.
I'm assuming play 1.
I'm going to go with Pittman.
I'm going to agree with him on that one. All right. Dawn, good morning, fam. Should I trust Judy? Should I trust Judy this week coming off an injury? My other options are Devonta Smith, who's been very inconsistent, but a juicy matchup this week versus the Lions, Waddle versus the Bills, or Marvin Jones versus Seattle.
I like Devonta this week, but I think kind of like Devonta this week. I think I might go with him.
It's close between him and Waddle for me. I think Waddle's going to really be needed in that game, and he just constantly looking for. No matter where he is on the field, that looks like his first option every single time. All right, Derek with a question. Starting running backs are Mixon and Kamara. My starting wide receiver is Chase. I need one more wide receiver and 2 flex spots. DJ Moore, Claypool, Metcalf, Eli Mitchell, Michael Carter, or P. Ryan.
Moore, Metcalf, Mitchell.
I'm going to agree with that as well. Allen, interesting trade offer. Incoming, Drake and Chase. Outgoing, Gibson and Metcalf. With Gruden out and Drake getting more field time the last 2 weeks. What's your thoughts on this?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
I don't think so. I mean, I like it, but I don't. I think I would just stick with Gibson and Metcalf. But I will say this. Chase scores touchdown almost every week unless I say he's not going to. And Drake is trending up, and Gibson, it's not terrible. Go with your gut. If you like it, do it.
Yeah, it's not a horrible trade. I just think that Gibson and Metcalf are going to really start, especially when Russell Wilson gets back. Metcalf's going to be –
that's the thing.
They want to make the playoffs. I really think they're going to push hard to try to make – especially if they win this game. Again, their record isn't the greatest, but it gives them an opportunity at least. All right, Dawn with another one here. Any of these worth streaming? Not wanting to start New England this week. Seattle, Indy, Cleveland, Denver, Los Angeles Chargers, or Atlanta?
Yeah, I like Indy.
I think Indy would be my choice here too. Denver is close, but again, you saw what happened last. They're coming off the mini bye. That's the other thing. Von Miller does say his ankle is improving. He's a game time decision.
Okay. I don't hate New England, but I'd go Indy if you don't want to use them.
All right, Antonio F. with the question. Is Miles Sanders worth dropping at this point?
No. You should have an IR spot you could throw him in. Check to see if you do. If it's a 10-team league, I mean, there's probably a ton of good guys out there, and you could probably get away with it. But a 14-team league, you can't drop him.
Even a 12-team league, I think you're keeping him and holding on to him.
Yeah.
Michael B. with the question. Is Miles Sanders worth dropping? He hasn't scored more than 9 points since week 1. He's useless at this point, right? I feel like Jalen Hurts is their QB and running back.
We talked about this in the Tuesday show, Michael and Antonio and anybody else. If you're dropping a player like this, who are you picking up? That's what matters. If you're dropping somebody just because they made you mad, is it helping your team or is it just helping you feel better? Because your feelings shouldn't matter. Sorry, they shouldn't. Like, we can't get emotional here. We really have no control over these players as much as we think we do.
Listen, I call team meetings every week, bro. Don't you?
if you're like, Miles Sanders, you haven't done anything, I'm dropping you. Well, now what? What are you dropping them for? Are you dropping them for somebody you're going to use? Are you dropping them for somebody you're going to be able to use through week 17? If so, go ahead. But if you're just dropping him because he hasn't done anything for you and there's nothing better out there, then you might as well just hold on to him. I mean, you have to look at your wire and be like, okay, I got 4 good running backs and I have Miles Sanders. I only have 3 good wide receivers, but this guy's sitting out there. I'm cutting him. And okay, you made your team better. You're managing. Manage your team, not your feelings.
I would say if you could, I mean, I wouldn't drop him. I know his value is very low right now, going on IR out next 3 weeks. His name value alone may get you a trade that somebody may be interested, especially if you have an Eagles fan or somebody who did pick up Gainwell or Boston Scott kind of thing. At least they have the backup from that perspective.
And you pair them with somebody else.
Yes, definitely, to try to upgrade your team. Mm-hmm. All right, Sean, are you trusting that Tony will play Monday night?
Yes, I am.
He's traveling with the team, so if he's traveling with the team, I think they're going to put him out there. All right, Alan with the question, are you starting Shepard? If so, over who? Higgins, Sutton, or Javonte Williams?
Higgins. Over Higgins.
Agreed.
I mean, Javonte's probably the smarter start over, but, in the off chance that they smarten up and use him at least 75% of the time, Higgins, start Shepard over Higgins.
All right. Oh, sorry. Same question. Alan with another one. How did I do in this money league? I'm already 6-1. Received Eckler and Sutton for Ridley, Herbert, and Waddle.
Yeah, I think I saw this, and I'm not sure if you did well. I mean, I don't want to beat around the bush. I don't like who you received versus who you got in both of these. I don't think it's terrible, but my question is, you're 6-1.
Yeah, why change it up?
Why are we switching things up? This could be a classic case of, I always got to do something. Sometimes it's good to just sit and just let it cook, right? Just let it go. It's a crock pot, right? It's not a frying pan. It's not terrible. You received Eckler and Sutton, okay, but you gave up a lot. Ridley, Herbert, Waddle, and you got Chase and Drake, okay, but you gave up a lot. I feel like if you sat with who you had, you would have been fine. You didn't kill your team. I just don't think that it made you any better.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Eckler, especially what Guess is saying, he's trying to take himself out of the game. He wants the other guys to go. I mean, you're kind of losing that. Herbert's the guy right now. Yes, Montgomery's eventually going to come back, but just the value in the 2 other wide receivers. I mean, Ridley's the number 1 option, and so is Waddle.
So, you look at it, you got rid of Gibson, you got Eckler. Okay, if they're both healthy, all right, you did better. But you got rid of Ridley, Waddle, and Metcalf for Chase and Sutton, essentially. I know Herbert's Herbert, but you got rid of 3 really good wide receivers for 2. RB depth is key. I don't think it's terrible. I just don't think that you made yourself better. And being 6-1, you might have been better off just sitting there. But listen, Alan, love you to death. Don't know you, but I love you.
What's your gut, man?
I don't know you, but I love you. I don't know why, but I do. I'm going to be rooting for you, man. I'm going to be rooting for you.
All right. Start 1, running back 1 flex, Waddle, Herbert, or Michael Carter.
Let's go with Waddle and Herbert.
All right. Spencer with a question. I'm trying Myers and Rondell Moore for DJ Moore for a trade, but it was denied. She has a running back. She needs a running back with Eckler out. I have Gainwell. Well, Eckler looks like he's playing. I have Gainwell, Pollard, and I have Herbert on my bench and start Najee, Henderson, and Swift. Should I try to trade Herbert and Myers for DJ Moore?
Yeah, I mean, I would try Gainwell and Myers first, while Gainwell's name is hot. Um, but yeah, Herbert and Myers is fine as well. Sure. Yes. Yes, Spencer. Yes.
All right. Any lineup suggestions? Let me put it back up on the screen here.
All right.
Let's move that out of the way. So this is his
Looks
starting
good.
lineup right here. And this is his bench.
You're good.
Yeah, I think who you had in was pretty good, man. All right.
I mean,
Yep, I would kind of leave it the same.
yeah, Javante over Carter, I would maybe do, but I know Rob likes Carter, so
I do.
I think it's very close with both. With as far as Carter, you're getting 100, closer to 100% of the snaps. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Johnson was getting some love last week, but Carter was the go-to for Mike White. He was constantly looking for him. I would take that compared to a 50-50 split. All right, let's take that and go back here. Jeremy with the question. I assume to play DK, pick one wide receiver and a flex. Shepard, Boyd, Pittman, Beasley, or Herbert.
So is DK one of these options?
Correct.
Sure.
He says, I assume to play DK. So DK is one of his options. So I guess technically you could choose two wide receivers and a flex. But he says he's starting DK.
Okay. I like Herbert, and I do think Beasley is going to absorb what Dawson Knox is leaving out there. But I kind of want to go with Shepard and Pittman.
Yeah, those are the two I was thinking, Shepard and Pittman. And if you're starting DK, that's the way I would go as well. Hostway with the question, are you sitting Lamb? My wide receiver 1 and 2 are DJ Moore and Godwin. My other flex options are Gainwell, Beasley, and Chenault. Half-point PPR.
Yeah, you go with Moore, you go with Godwin. I'm not sitting Lamb. Talked about that. I mean, if you want to take a shot, I keep mentioning I feel like Beasley is going to soak up the Dawson Knox targets this week. So, I disappeared. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm kind of going. Yeah. You were breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it was my side or yours.
If you're nervous about Lamb, go with the gut. Play Beasley. That's the only other one that I do, but I'm fine with playing Lamb.
Right. Alan, David Johnson or Drake rest this season? I'm trying to move Lockett for one.
Listen, if David Johnson played for a better team with a better offense, I'd say David Johnson. Let's see how David Johnson looks without Ingram there today. I mean, pick him up. Drake's on a. If this is like, who am I going to pick up type of thing? Drake's on a bye, so he's not going to do good today. So pick up David Johnson if he looks great, and you got him. And if not, you dump him. You pick up Drake. If it's a.
He's trying to trade Lockett for one of those two guys.
I think you got to wait and see how David Johnson looks without Ingram there. Sorry.
I agree. Alan, with any Giants cards to trade, guess? I got some banger RPA and rookies.
I got rid of 2 Daniel Jones flawless patch autos, so not anymore. I got rid of them. Sorry, buddy.
All right, Herbert, Damian Harris, or Michael Carter today?
Harris. He's going to run all over him.
I agree. I think Harris is your call. Sorry, excuse me. Coffee's coming back up. All right. Start Sterling or Kadarius Toney on Monday.
Ooh, good question. You always have the best questions.
He does.
I think you make these up. And I think you're damn good at it. I'm going to go with Toney. Just a bigger play potential. I'm going to go with Toney. Sterling will probably have more catches, more reception, more yards, maybe. But I think Toney gets in the end zone at least once, if not maybe twice, if they move the ball well enough. I think Tony's going to have a big night.
Let's hope he doesn't punch anybody in the head.
That's it.
Lockett, Shepard, Sutton, or Toney?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just said Toney.
Toney. All right. PPR flex spot. Toney, Booker, Judy or Goddard. Hawkinson in my tight end spot. Mr. Sponge for hands.
See, PPR makes a difference here, which I might go Goddard because of it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, man.
Might go Goddard. He's going to get a touchdown. He's probably going to catch a ton of balls. I would go Goddard. I do like Tony quite a bit, but I think I would go Goddard in this one.
If Hurts can get out of the pocket because he's going to have to move, the run game isn't there. It seems like even somebody's mentioned before, he seems like he's the quarterback and the running back. Him outside, I think Goddard gets a lot of love, especially from a protection, almost like a safety net for him. Seems to be the same question. I don't know if it just posted multiple times. Tony, Shepard, Higgins, Sutton, or Lockett start two.
I would go Tony and Shepard, but if you don't want both Giants, I would go Tony and Sutton.
Agreed. You're welcome, John. Hey, Hendrick, what's up, man?
What's up, bud?
Long time no see, man. All right, Chris with the question. Pick 3 running backs: Patterson, Damian Harris, Darrell Williams, or Herbert.
Patterson, Harris, and Herbert.
Agree 100%. Antonio with the question. Mahomes or Brady?
Good question. God, I want Mahomes so bad because it's the Monday night and I feel like he's going to bounce back, but Brady is like sure money. Brady is sure money. Just you can't go wrong. Just play Brady. Just play Brady.
All right. Which 2 wide receivers? A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Debo, Keenan Allen. Thanks. Or T.Y. Hilton. That's good. Fantastic options to have.
Yeah, geez. I really badly want to say A.J. Brown, Deontay. I might go Deontay and Debo.
That's who I'm looking at. I know it's hard to bench Keenan Allen, but I think you're right. I think they're going to have a game plan for Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and make Guyton and Pharaoh Brown and all those guys kind of beat them. All right. Start Gainwell this week. Got him in a few leagues.
I don't think you need to, but if you do need to, then sure. He's going to be splitting with Scott. Jordan Howard's going to steal your touchdowns if they get close, if Hurts doesn't do it himself. And they don't run the ball enough. I know he's a pass catcher. I like Gainwell. We told you his name in the preseason before people really knew who he was. If you must, go for it, but I don't love it.
All right. 1 to start, half-point PPR. Mooney, DJ, or Gesicki. Can't trust Ayuk, but have him as well.
Is it DJ Moore? You're going DJ Moore, buddy.
Maybe David Johnson.
If it's David Johnson, you're going Gesicki.
I don't know any other DJs. All right.
Daryl Thompson.
Yeah.
He's retired.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, wait, what year are we in? All right. That's the questions that we have.
All right.
Yes, anything else?
No. Have a great day. Have a safe Halloween. Don't eat too much candy. You'll get a stomach ache.
I agree. Let's see any of the other comments. David Johnson was the guy. All right. Yeah. So I would probably go Gesicki, man.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right, guys. Answers by guess. Remember, always follow Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck. We'll try and answer questions. I got a few things I got to do with the kids.
Yes,
but
craziness.
We'll do what we can. We love you. Best of luck. And we'll see you Tuesday night.
All right. Answers by guess.
See you, everybody.